And now, Belinda, would you like to say something to us about the election? About the IEC, what the IEC expects people to do now, between now and then? Just move her microphone, no, that one there. That's it. Belinda from the IEC.
We are currently preparing for registration on the 8th and 9th of November. I've brought in a few PCAPs with the SMS number where people can SMS your ID number to check if you are on the voters roll. And as usual, the IEC works hard to make sure that we deliver an incredible election. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry Jessie Duarte didn't make it, but frankly we know that she's got other things on her plate at the moment, or maybe not on her plate anymore. I would like to now open the floor to members of the media. If you would like to ask questions, you are very welcome to do so. And all you have to do is, I think, put up your hands. Is that how they do it in the West Wing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that announce who you are presenting in Africa?
Yes. Up your hands, announce who you're from, and then ask your question. Yes, my dear?
Susie from Minnesota. Do you have any suggestions for people who live at Thabo Mbeki?
Are you talking to me specifically or to all of us? To me. Well, first of all, Thabo Mbeki is going to spend the next 2 years in Harare to try and sort that out. At least he can be there long enough to wait for Mugabe to die. I think that will sort it out because Mugabe is very old. I think he's a very clever man. I've always had great respect for Thabo Mbeki. I never got to know him very well because he was never here. But he did come back on a short state visit every now and then. But you know, when he made a speech, it was with such passion. And he's so clever and such an intellectual. I never knew what he meant, but I loved the way he said it. And of course, he would quote, with, you know, from all these wonderful, he quoted from Shakespeare and Wolfers and Thesaurus. And he said, I think there's a lot for Thabo Mbeki to do to contribute to a strong democracy in South Africa. I personally, if I had the choice, I would make him the South African ambassador to the United Nations. I mean, he knows the passages there better than he knows the passages in Parliament. And he even looks like Kofi Annan's son. I mean, we can call him Cappuccino. Yeah, it's my name. Cape Town.
Do you have any advice to the ANC?
You know, I've also learned a lesson in the New South Africa. Be careful not to shout advice over your fence. Because you might do it on a religious holiday and then they burn your house down. So did that way. I think the ANC is actually just going through something very natural. We went through it in the National Party. We had a big recall. Is it a recall? Did you recall? Replaced? Recall? We had a recall when we pushed John Forster upstairs to keep him out of jail for the information scandal. We had a recall when we kicked P.W. Botha into the wilderness to keep us out of jail. We had a recall when F.W. de Klerk kicked down the door in the prison to bring up Nelson Mandela. And we had another recall when Nelson Mandela stepped down after the first term, which was very un-African. We were very disappointed about that. So I think the ANC is also growing up. You know, our democracy is now, in fact, I think our 14-year-old democracy, our voice is breaking. I mean, everything else is broken, but our voice is definitely breaking. We are growing up. And the ANC, of course, is going through the natural turmoil of opinions. They say there might be a breakaway party. I think is giving new meaning to that phrase, the war on terror. The way that it's going on in the media. They want to have a national convention, which I think is very clever because, you know, African National Congress stands for ANC, and National Convention also stands for ANC. So I wish everybody loved Machis. They mustn't hurt each other. They mustn't be rude. They mustn't break into houses and burn things down because they cross. They are big people now, and they must, yeah, we've all been through it, and we look forward to it. In die aardelin, ek dink gaan baie interessant wees in Helen. We just see who is the next person to sit at my table. I will be here. I don't know how many of them will be. I've been around for 30 years. I was around before you were born. From Cape Town. Thank you, Cape Town. Who's having a birthday? Aren't you having a birthday at the moment? It was on Wednesday. Freedom of speech is embodied in Cape Town. You've got freedom and a lot of speech. Bye now. Yes, my dear. Is there an option of joining a coalition next year? Do you know, I think the coalition idea is very important. I think I don't mind leading the coalition, maar Helen, you are the best mayor, and then you are the most exciting new premier. In hoe sukkel jy daar in die huis is groot, né? In the old days, when we were there, of course, in the old days, you wouldn't be allowed in there, but in the old days, we were scared to go to the toilet because there were so many ghosts down there. This worked out too much. Just give him a nice meal. Send him to Telelokop, he can join his party. Yeah? A coalition means only that people stand together to make things better. You know, opposition is a difficult word. I'm really nervous of the word opposition to democracy. There is no such thing. There's alternatives to democracy and opposition to government in a democracy. And we have got very strong opposition. And also we've got people who've got lots of very specific ideas. So questions must be asked. What I would like to say is if you want to know, ask questions. You've got the email, you've got the cell phone, you've got all sorts of ways of getting messages to all the political parties and find out what the plans are and what your plans are. Ja, nee, it's lekker om baie mense om 'n tafel te sit, nee, ek sal nie verboortie maak. Ek beloof. Verboortie for the coalition. Any questions for my guests?
Yes, Chris Mabuya from the SABC Red.
Yes.
Chris Mabuya, SABC Red News. Maybe Belinda can also confirm this one. I just want to know, have you registered the EPP already?
As you saw, the EPP was registered in front of your eyes. Unfortunately, you haven't got a camera, but you must tell your listeners that it really happened. And we are registered. We will be on, how many political parties have been registered? Belinda? About 17,000, no? Out of those parties, the ones will emerge who will fight the election on the ballot. Dit is die volgende stap, no? But I think it is important to actually really underline what this is about. This is not Evita per se in combat mode to fight the Democratic Alliance or the ANC. This is all of us together saying that politics is a job and you make our job possible, and we are all going to do as much as possible to make you feel important and contribute to the future, to each of our parties. And I have respect for all the political parties. Die Vryheidsfront is ou vriende van my. Hulle was te bang om hier na toe te kom, want hulle is bang ek onthou dinge van die ou dae. But still, there are good people. Bantu Misa sent me a very nice email, and I just emailed back saying, Bantu, can't you change your name? I feel like a racist every time I call you in anything. So daar is baie moontlik hier. So I hope that answers your question. If not, please ask the next one.